the Executive Federal Market Entry Operating System. Season 2, Episode 4. Stop chasing contracts. Follow the winners.
Welcome back to the Executive Federal Market Entry Operating System. I'm Maya Chen, your Executive Intelligence Officer. And today, I'm sitting down again with Johnny Cornish III, founder and CEO of Marshall Davis Medical Logistics, LLC, and creator of the Executive Federal Market Entry Operating System. John, I want to start with a scenario. Monday morning, I open LinkedIn and see that a major company has just received a $200 million federal contract. The award has already been announced. The government selected the winner. My first reaction might be, well, I missed that one.
And my reaction is almost the opposite.
Which is?
I'm thinking, 5 years of execution may have just started.
So when somebody else sees the end of a competition, you're looking at the beginning of performance.
Exactly. And that distinction can completely change the way a company approaches the federal marketplace. Most people entering government contracting are trained to search for something they can bid. They open SAM, they look at bid alerts, they search NAICS codes, they look at deadlines, and the entire business development question becomes, what's open?
Which sounds logical.
It is logical, but it's incomplete. Because while you're asking what's open, billions of dollars in federal work are already being performed by companies the government has selected. Those companies have missions to execute, and execution creates requirements.
Staffing,
Technology,
transportation,
security,
communications,
engineering,
production,
regional support,
specialized suppliers.
surge requirements, problems that may not have even been obvious on award day.
So the awarded contract isn't necessarily a closed door.
Correct. Sometimes it's a map.
That's a very different way of looking at federal awards.
And that's what I want to teach today. Stop looking at an award and automatically saying, too late. Start asking, who won? What are they responsible for now? And where might my company fit inside that execution ecosystem?
So today, we're not really talking about chasing contracts.
You're correct. We're talking about learning how to read the market.
Then, let's do it through scenarios.
Perfect.
Because I think that's where this becomes real. Let's start with logistics.
All right.
A major defense contractor receives a large federal award. I own a logistics company. But the contract involves aircraft, weapon systems, technology, or some other mission that I don't manufacture. Why should I care?
Because you're looking at the prime contract instead of the execution requirements inside it. Let's slow it down. A company receives a major award involving equipment, aircraft, technology, medical systems, infrastructure, whatever the mission may be. Somebody has to move things. Somebody has to recover cargo. Somebody may have to coordinate first mile or last mile transportation. Somebody may need staging. Somebody may need warehouse support. Somebody may need regional coverage. Somebody may need emergency transportation when the normal plan breaks. Somebody may need surge capacity. Somebody may need a supplier capable of handling one very specific operational problem.
So instead of asking, can my company perform this entire $200 million contract? I should be asking, is there something inside the execution of this contract that matches what my company already does?
Exactly. That question alone can save you a tremendous amount of wasted effort. A subcontractor does not have to become the prime contractor. You do not have to manufacture the aircraft. You do not have to engineer the entire system. You do not have to own the entire mission. You need to understand where your capability can reduce friction inside the mission.
And I think that's where smaller companies sometimes eliminate themselves too early. They see the size of the award. They see the name of the prime. They see the complexity of the program. And they assume there's nothing there for me.
Exactly. But a $200 million program does not require every supplier to be a $200 million company. It may require a regional supplier that can solve a $50,000 problem extremely well, or a $100,000 problem, or a recurring operational requirement. The size of the prime contract does not determine the size of every potential entry point.
And that's important, because now we're teaching people to look beneath the headline.
Correct. Headlines tell you who won. Intelligence begins when you ask what happens next.
Let's move to technology. Major prime contractor wins a large federal modernization program. I own a small software company. Again, my first reaction could be, that contract is way too big for us.
Same mistake. Let's say the prime has responsibility for modernizing a major federal system. That could potentially involve software development, data integration, cybersecurity, cloud infrastructure, testing, user experience, training, help desk support, legacy system migration, AI, modeling, specialized engineering, documentation, change management.
So one award can contain dozens of different capability requirements?
Potentially, yes. And the mistake would be assuming that because the prime owns the overall contract, the prime performs every specialized function with its own employees.
Maya. Which means the better question for the software company is not, how do we get a piece of a $500 million contract? It's, what specific problem inside this program are we unusually qualified to solve?
Exactly. Now we're getting somewhere. Maybe you have a niche cybersecurity capability. Maybe you specialize in integrating data from systems that were never designed to talk to each other. Maybe you have a particular simulation capability. Maybe your team can solve a testing problem. Maybe you understand a technology the prime needs but doesn't want to build internally. That is a much stronger position than saying, we're an IT company and we would love to partner.
Because we do IT still leaves the prime with all the work.
Exactly. They still have to figure out why they need you. Executive positioning says, I understand something about the mission, and I have identified a specific area where our capability could be relevant.
There's another layer here. A smaller company may actually have an advantage if the capability is narrow enough.
Absolutely. Large primes are incredibly capable, but they are still organizations. They still make build versus buy decisions. They still need suppliers. They still encounter specialized requirements. They still need regional capacity. They still have execution risk. And the smaller companies should not try to compete with the prime's entire organization. Find the gap.
Find the gap.
Exactly.
Let's change industries completely. I want somebody listening who owns a communications, print, or content company to understand this too.
Good.
A large federal contractor wins a major program involving benefits administration, healthcare communications, public outreach, citizen services, or something similar. A commercial printer or digital communications firm sees the award and says, that's not a printing contract.
And that may be true. But again, we're asking the wrong question. Maybe the program requires citizen communications. Maybe there are benefit notices. Maybe there is high-volume document production. Maybe there is variable data printing. Maybe there are digital communications. Maybe there is graphic design. Maybe materials require translation. Maybe there is mailing, fulfillment, document management, regional distribution, accessible communications, video, content production.
So the prime contract may never be described publicly as a printing contract?
Correct. Because printing may only be one part of delivering the mission.
And that gives us another important principle. Don't ask whether the contract looks like your company. Ask whether the execution contains your capability.
Exactly. I want listeners to remember that sentence. The title of the contract may not sound like you. The NAICS code may not immediately sound like you. The prime contractor may operate in an industry completely different from yours, but the execution environment may still require what you do.
That changes the unit of analysis.
Yes,
The beginner sees one contract. The operating system sees an agency, a prime contractor, a mission, a performance period, a geography, a set of execution requirements, and potentially an entire network of suppliers, subcontractors, and partners required to make the mission work.
exactly. Now you're seeing what I see.
And I think that point is worth staying with for a second. Because this is not about inventing subcontracting opportunities that may not exist.
Absolutely not.
It's about using the award as a reason to investigate.
Correct. We verify, we research, we ask intelligent questions, we don't assume. A large award is not automatically an opportunity for your company. Sometimes there will be no fit.
And then we move on.
Quickly. That's part of the operating system too. Intelligence is just as valuable when it tells you no.
Which brings me to the fourth scenario. I think this one may be the most important.
Go ahead.
What happens when a company identifies the winner before the winner needs them?
Now we're talking about relationship strategy.
Let's say I identify a prime contractor that repeatedly wins federal work related to my capability. I don't have an immediate opportunity. There's no emergency. Nobody has asked me for a quote. What do I do?
Learn the company. Register as a supplier if there is a relevant supplier system. Understand its federal business areas. Identify its major customers. Look at where it performs. Understand the awards it keeps winning. Identify its small business infrastructure. Follow relevant executives. Build visibility around the capability you want associated with your company. And engage intelligently when there is a legitimate reason.
But don't immediately send, "Hi, we're a small business. Can we partner?"
Please don't.
Why?
Because again, you're making them do the thinking. You haven't shown me why we should have a conversation. You haven't shown me what you understand. You haven't shown me where you fit. You've basically announced that your company exists.
Whereas, if I follow that prime for 6 months, understand its market, register correctly, connect with the right people, and then it wins another program.
Now you have context. You may be able to say, "Congratulations on the award. We've been following your work in this mission area, and based on the performance requirements we can verify, our company may be positioned to support this specific execution need."
Much stronger.
Completely different posture. And here's the strategic advantage. You are not introducing yourself during the emergency. You began building awareness before urgency existed.
That may be the biggest difference between opportunity hunting and market development.
Exactly. Opportunity hunters wait for something to become urgent. Market developers build position before urgency.
So the award isn't always telling me, "Go ask for a subcontract." Sometimes it's telling me, "This is a company you should understand."
Exactly. Sometimes the best outcome from studying an award is not immediate revenue. It's discovering the right prime contractor,
Or the right agency,
or the right mission.
or the right supplier ecosystem.
Exactly.
Which brings us to something new inside the operating system,
Yes,
the Executive Award Watch.
correct. And I want to keep this simple. I don't want people listening to this episode and building a spreadsheet with 500 companies. Start with 5.
5 prime contractors.
5 companies whose federal work genuinely intersects with what your company does. For each one, I want to know a few things. Who are they? Which federal customers do they serve? What have they won recently? What were they hired to accomplish? Where are they performing? What execution needs might reasonably exist? Where could your capability fit? Are you registered with them as a supplier? Do you know who manages small business or supplier engagement? Have you established any relationship?
So instead of waking up every morning and staring at 30 unrelated opportunity alerts, I have 5 companies on my screen that I'm intentionally learning.
Exactly. Now you're beginning to operate a market instead of wandering through one.
I like that.
Because the goal is not more information. The goal is better intelligence.
There's a difference.
A huge difference. Information tells you that a company received an award. Intelligence helps you determine whether that award matters to your company.
Information says prime contractor X won $200 million.
Intelligence says, Prime Contractor X now has a 5-year responsibility for a mission that includes 3 areas where our company has credible capability.
Information says they have a supplier portal.
Intelligence says, we have completed supplier registration, identified the relevant business unit, and know which part of the company is most likely to need what we do.
Information says they have a small business liaison officer.
Intelligence says, we understand why we would contact that office, what we would say, and which capability we want associated with our name. Exactly.
That feels like the operating system.
It is the operating system. We're taking disconnected pieces of federal market information and turning them into a decision framework.
And this also connects directly back to episode 3.
Absolutely.
If your federal strategy has stalled because all you've been doing is chasing whatever shows up in your inbox.
Build the watch.
5 primes.
5.
Understand them.
Understand them deeply.
Watch what they win, because each award tells you more than who got the contract. It shows you which agencies trust them, what missions they're being pulled into, where their business is expanding, and what kinds of execution demands may be coming next. Over time, those wins start revealing a pattern, and that pattern tells you where the prime is headed.
Watch what changes.
Register where appropriate.
Build the relationship infrastructure.
And start looking for where your capability intersects with execution.
Exactly.
I want to address one objection before we close.
Go ahead.
Somebody listening may say, John, I'm a small company. I don't have time to sit around researching billion-dollar corporations every day.
Good. Don't.
That simple?
Absolutely. I don't want you researching everybody. That's the entire point. 5. Maybe later it becomes 10. But start with 5 companies that matter. Spend focused time once a week reviewing what has changed. Did they win something? Did they announce a new program? Did the agency issue something relevant? Did you identify a new supplier contact? Did your registration move forward? Did an executive accept your connection? Did the performance footprint expand? That is manageable.
So the operating system is reducing the universe again.
Exactly. Federal contracting becomes exhausting when you convince yourself that everything is an opportunity. It isn't.
That might be one of the most liberating things we've said.
It should be. I don't want every contract. I want the contracts, companies, relationships, and missions where our capability has a credible reason to exist.
That's a very different definition of business development.
And a much more sustainable one.
So let's bring the whole episode together. A federal award is announced. The beginner may see, too late.
The operating system says, investigate.
Who won?
What did they win?
What are they responsible for?
What happens during execution?
Where does the work happen?
What might they need?
Where does your capability fit?
And is there enough verified alignment to justify engagement?
And if there isn't?
Move on.
If there is?
Then we go deeper.
Which sounds like episode 5.
It is.
Because today, we learned how to identify the winner. Next, we need to know what to do once we find one.
Exactly. Supplier registration, small business offices, executive research, capability alignment, outreach, relationship development, and most importantly, How to approach a prime contractor without sounding like every other company asking for a piece of their contract.